Star Trek Online is a sci-fi themed MMORPG developed by Cryptic Studios and published by Perfect World Entertainment once it went free to play in 2012. It promised to fans to have spectacular battles between the Federation and the Klingon Empire, but failed to deliver on this by not having the Klingons as a playable race upon release. It's this releasing when it wasn't ready that was the main reason for the game having what was considered to be a failed MMORPG launch. But because it's Star Trek, a franchise with billions of fans globally, it has managed to stay alive since going free to play, and adding in over time all the things that it should have had in the game since the very beginning. The game itself is set in the 25th century, 30 years after the events of the Star Trek Nemesis movie. The game does have its loyal followers, and the question on everyone's mind now is, has this game improved enough since its initial release in 2010, and is it even worth trying now? Let's find out together in this ×2 review. Hey guys, Extermicide here, and I'm here with my buddy Ark.
Hey guys, how you doing today?
And we're ready for another ×2 review, and today we are doing Star Trek Online. Gotta ask, buddy, did you ever play this game back when it came out?
No, I never have. No, I did not.
Are you a Star Trek fan?
I actually am. My son, my boy, my family, they're all huge Star Wars, but me, I'm actually a Star Trek fan, so I'm actually pretty excited on this.
Okay, so this game came out back in 2010. Publisher, Perfect World. Developer was Cryptic Studios. All right, log it in. So what I would like to do, if it's okay with you, is since we didn't get to play the Klingon race back in the day, I would like to go into this as Klingons, so I can see how that did evolve, you know, because I already in the past played as Starfleet. So, but I'm at the character customization. You got the Klingon Delta Force. You got Discovery Starfleet from Star Trek Discovery. You got the Dominion, made popular in Deep Space Nine. You got the original series Starfleet. You got the Romulan Republic. And then you just have generic Starfleet. So I'm gonna go with the Klingon Delta Force. And once you choose the Klingons, you actually get your choice of race within the Klingon Empire. So you got, like, starting from the bottom, you got generic alien, going up to Orion, Nausicaan, Lethean, Gorn, which is the lizard people, and then they actually include two, I guess just to make up for everything, two Klingon versions. You got the next generation Klingons, which is the ones I like, and then you got the ones from Star Trek Discovery, where they reinvented the Klingons altogether, and I hate the look of the new Klingons. So I'm gonna go with the next generation Klingon. Next, you have to choose a career. Tactical officer, I think, is basically your gun blazing type guy. Science officer is more utility. He kind of gets the healing stuff and all that kind of stuff. And I don't remember what engineering is. I think engineering gets some kind of freaking gadgets or whatever. I really don't remember how much this all came into effect. I'm gonna choose tactical officer just for the purposes of this review, just to get DPS. All right, so the presets, we get freaking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Wow, one dude looks like Predator, man.
And then the head is just basically changes the freaking hairstyle. You can change their skin color, eye color. Once you get to advanced, there's a bunch of different little sliders here to change various aspects. But it seems like even though when you're hitting some of this stuff and moving some of these sliders around, the changes are so subtle, it doesn't really feel like it's changing all that much. I'm giving him just a basic look, but I did want to just kind of go through the different options here. They're making it look like there's a lot of options here. I don't know how many sliders, if you tweaked any of the sliders, but I'm not seeing big differences with some of these sliders, and I'll be honest, I'm not really impressed with the character customization.
Yeah, it's fairly basic.
Basic with a lot of options, which is, I think there's a lot of needless options here, to be honest with you.
I think it's just all aesthetics, you know, just aesthetics.
It works in other games like League of Maidens and Black Desert Online. All those freaking sliders matter. The ones here, I'm moving them, and the changes are so subtle that I really don't feel like, why have a slider for that? So I can make his chest, you know, a millimeter thicker, you know?
Yeah, right.
All right. You gotta choose your name, and then you got formal name, which is optional. I'm not gonna mess around with that. And then you get a ship name. All right, my ship is the IKS Rear Hull Destroyer. Press the engage.
You are the second officer aboard a Klingon bird of prey, currently in charge of the Night Watch. You are in command of the ship, while Captain Cherlek and First Officer Duran are off duty. Your shift nears its end. Third Officer Lieutenant Kagan would like to have a word with you before you leave the bridge. People you can interact with have icons above their heads. Press F to talk with them.
All right, I made a mistake of pressing F and holding it, which just started the conversation and ended it real quick. But
items have a glow around them.
I like the voiceovers. That's kind of nice.
Return to your
I'm a big fan of voiceovers. Not to say I don't mind reading, but I think my ADD kind of takes the best of me, and I'd rather just get through it.
I'll be honest with you, with older age, these are not a fashion statement anymore, you know. My eyesight's getting worse over, you know, as I get older, and I don't want to have to read a bunch of text anymore. That's just where I am in my life.
I hope the logs didn't bore you too much. I almost fell asleep writing that program on the holodeck.
We got these single player missions to carry out before we'll be allowed to group up.
Okay.
Captain on the bridge. Nook Nech. I see you and Kagan kept my ship from blowing up during your watch. Kalis would be proud. I relieve you. Return in 6 hours, Lieutenant. You are dismissed.
It's a unique way of doing the whole character chat, you know, putting it in its own little separate window like that. I'm not against it.
I do like the little tutorial. It does kind of walk you through each step and everything, so you're getting familiar how you're playing it.
If you are far away from your holodeck is initializing. Do not enter. The training program is ready. You may enter now. In combat, press 1 to use your weapon's primary.
Now this is a good example, although these are holodeck characters. Are you on the holodeck?
Yeah. Yep.
So kind of walk up close to these guys and watch how stupid the AI is here. Now if I'm a Klingon and I'm going into a training freaking exercise, I expect these things to be trying to kill me, because that's what Klingons like. And watch how close you can get up to one, and then he still misses you when he shoots at you.
Yeah.
This was my problem with Cryptic with City of Heroes, and it carried on into Star Trek Online.
Return to the entry door. Leave the holodeck and proceed down the hallway to the turbo lift.
You're like the Sigma. We're ready to receive your prisoner.
Acknowledged. We're beaming the piece of Baktok to you, now. I recommend you muzzle him. The sound of his voice is...
So I'm asleep in my quarters, and
if he irritates me,
we are getting ready to beam over a prisoner.
My favorite talk, piece by piece.
I just went into a room and talking to a bunch of guys that are in this cafeteria or whatever they are, or
Shields! Hey, shields!
meeting, talking with crewmen.
I think the room you want is the one across the hall from there. And then look for the glowing bed.
Kapla, you're alive. This is First Officer Duran. We have sustained damage from a surprise attack. I need you to motivate the crew and get them back to their posts.
Yep, I'm in the bed now.
Acknowledge, Commander.
Sometimes, missions specialized to your career class are available.
Today,
Inspiring.
it's a good day to die.
Fight for me.
Do it must be done with honor.
I am ready to serve with honor for the Empire.
Here is the situation. We took custody of a Federation prisoner from the IKS Segpa. Almost immediately after transport, a Starfleet cruiser showed up and attacked. We took some severe damage, but we were able to get our shields up before they could beam
Equipment.
over. They've launched shuttles and have boarded the ships on the lower decks. Our security teams are tied up all over the ship, so I need your help securing
Voice
the
acting
lower
is
deck.
good.
Grab a rifle from the armory locker and then make your way to the lower deck.
Interact with the
Yeah, I do like that. Just, I know, I'm not a big fan of reading. I guess it's a form of laziness, I guess. I don't know. I just think with today's technology, I think that's just pretty much an expectation, in my opinion.
An item has dropped for you. Move toward the item and press F to loot it. Please input message for decryption.
This is Captain Jurlek. I have the prisoner you seek, and I do not wish to be captured or killed. I will permit your boarding shuttles to land on my ship in exchange for my release once you have the prisoner. My crew must never learn of this, so arm your boarding
Ah,
party
shit.
and expect resistance once you board.
You recovered that message from the Federation borders? My suspicions about our Pataka the captain have been confirmed. I've been seeing
Yeah, our
signs of
captain's a
Jurlek's
coward.
cowardice and incompetence for months now. But finally, this is the proof I need to challenge him. I see that you are near the brig. I
What
want
year
you
did
to
this
talk to the
game
Federation
come out, do you know?
prisoner there. Find
2010.
out why he is so
2010,
valuable.
okay.
And then report.
The prisoner is still here. Starfleet's rescue attempt has failed.
Talking to the prisoner.
Something on your mind, second officer? You do know your captain's a traitor, right? And now two of you know. Tell me, does Duran know about Jurlek's dishonor as well? Well then, I'm guessing you'll be first officer before too long. Can't imagine Duran letting something like that slide.
How do you know so much about our crew, Starfleet?
It's my business to know things. If I were you, I'd check in with soon-to-be Captain Duran. She'll probably want to talk about your promotion.
I'm afraid First Officer Duran is indisposed. Permanently. Report to the bridge at once.
Oh, snap.
Unless you wish to join her in Stovacor.
Well, I was half right. Congratulations on your promotion, First Officer.
The captain has dishonored himself. You are the next ranking officer. It is your right to challenge him to a duel, to the death. If you defeat him, the ship is yours. Go. You know what must be done.
So let me know when you take command and take the seat. That's why I'm waiting on you.
You fight well.
Gunfight turns into a knife fight.
Give me warrior's death. Ha! Well fought! An honorable victory! Under Imperial law, you are now the captain. I will... Captain, there is no sign of the SEGPA on scanners. We do not know if the feds destroyed her.
Alright, so flying ships was something else that was not in this game
W and
upon
F
release.
will pitch your ship downward or upward.
Helm, full stop! Captain, I recommend we use the scanners to see if this contains any iridium.
Burn the crew.
No iridium on the scanners, but that nearby asteroid field may have what we need. We have found several asteroids that contain iridium, Captain. Weapons are back online.
Kind of weird. Usually you can... Camera kind of falls behind you, so it's...
Yeah, I'm really not a fan of this kind of ship flying.
Oh, that was crazy. I didn't expect it when I went full speed. I didn't expect it to go like warp speed all of a sudden. That was crazy.
Mashka! We found some iridium!
An item.
Out of habit, I'm still used to hitting W to go forward, so my ship keeps going to go like in a loop.
Captain, I'm picking up a Starfleet
They destroy the 3 asteroids and you get all the iridium.
In a nearby asteroid field. They are disabled. What are your orders, Captain?
You must be within 10 kilometers of an enemy to attack it.
Mayday, mayday! We are disabled and under attack by the well we were searching for. Request assistance.
Target's shields have failed.
Sir, a Federation repair team just... I suggest we take them out as well.
Well, it doesn't look like you can crash into the asteroids.
I mean, the combat is actually kind of fun, but it's a little bit different. Just I'm not really understanding the whole throttling and that type of thing, but it's kind of fun.
That's my biggest problem, is the actual steering and getting your ship facing in the right direction.
Yeah. It's kind of neat though with the it is kind of directional in a way. Like you got to be able to look the right direction in order for your weapons to fire off. I like the graphics. I think being out space is pretty cool, and like the far background looks pretty nice. I'm looking at, you know, I'm assuming it's probably Jupiter here.
Divert power
Maybe some form, maybe.
This is Captain Kagdar of the IKS SEGPA. Where is Captain Jurlek? Ha! Finally! That miserable Toba has been a blight for far too long. Congratulations! May you bring glory to your ship and your house.
Communications officer, make a report to command. Give them our coordinates. Captain, the Starfleet vessel is hailing us. Do you wish to respond?
This is the Federation ship USS Musashi hailing incoming Klingon vessel.
You got a Federation ship hailing me.
Captain Jurlek, what are you... Wait. Where is Captain Jurlek?
Sherlock is dead. Okay, Klingon homeworld.
So you're the one with my prisoner. Congratulations! The prisoner has been received.
And then beam down to the planet. Okay.
The prisoner has been received and muzzled. Typical human, in love with the sound of his own voice. Oh, some stuffy bureaucrat tried to reach you here.
Alright, I'm in the room where you probably should be. Yay!
What up? The mighty fine haircut you have there, sir.
What the hell is sticking out the side of my head? Do you see that?
Yep.
Oh, it's the top of my gun. The barrel of my gun. Okay.
It's...
Okay, so these guys are all information, I guess that's what that is. An eye.
Greetings. How may I assist you?
Oh my god, this is Worf. We just met a celebrity.
Fight with honor.
There he is. The hero that brought us a Federation prisoner. The warrior who saved the Segpa. The rightful heir of a starship by right of personal combat. You have done well to start your career. I will be keeping an eye on you and your progress.
Alright, you ready to score this?
Yes, I am.
Alright, graphics. Let's start off with graphics. Graphics were Star Trek. It definitely felt like Star Trek. I don't know. I really can't say anything bad about them. But, you know, for as old as they are, they still look pretty decent. I couldn't really fault them all that much. I feel like there's more I want to say about it, but I really don't know what to say. I'm going to say some of the character models, though, seemed a little simplistic or very copy and pasted, especially where NPCs were concerned. All the Klingons, I don't know if it's just because they're Klingons, but they all just started to look the same after a while. Graphics, I'm going to go with a 6.
I think for me, you can tell the difference between versions, like the inside the city, very old, outdated models, like they almost feel like placeholders in a way. But with the actual space fights and stuff, I love the graphics that were out there in the galaxy, and the fights were not decent. So I'm gonna give it a 5. That's just where I'm at.
Next, we have sound and music. I actually turned the music down quite low because it's Star Trek. I didn't want to chance them playing Star Trek themes from the TV shows and then have this whole review video get copyright stricken because there's Star Trek music in it, because Paramount is like that. But the music I did hear sounded very Klingon-ish because we played the Klingons. The sound effects were all what I would expect them to be. So I would say the quality of the sound was actually pretty damn good. And the voices for the voice acting was very well done. I'm gonna go with a 9. I'm actually gonna go pretty high with this one.
I think the theme of the music was on mark, like you said, based on the actual race. I didn't have any issues. It wasn't annoying, and the voiceover was a huge plus for me because I don't like to read text and everything. So that was nice. It made my life easier on that one. I didn't really have any issues with it, honestly. So I'm actually gonna go with a 9 also.
This brings us to story, and this one I'm probably going to give the highest rating to. I'm going to give story a 10 because from the very beginning, you start off as a single player mission. When you finally get into being able to team up with somebody, the same exact story continued, and you're playing the whole story throughout the game. So if you're a lover of a story, the story is there, it's consistent, it's very well done, it's very well explained. I'm giving story a 10.
I agree with you. I think 10 was suitable. I think the whole experience going through this, the storyline was just on point, and I really felt that it was just nothing but storyline, and it was I had a good experience with it, so I'm gonna give it a 10.
Next is combat. Wow. Okay. So there's two different combats going on here. There's the land combat where it's player versus player, and then there's the space combat. I'm going to start off with the space combat, which I actually felt was very clunky. It felt sluggish. It just, I've played space combat games that were even older than this game that did it much better. So I was not impressed with the space combat whatsoever. Ground combat was a little bit freaking better, a little bit more forgiving. However, the mobs just seem very stupid sometimes, and that just seems to be a thing with Cryptic games. They don't have like very intelligent AIs, and it just seems like you can take a lot of hits, or you can sit there and put yourself like in the middle of 5 mobs, and they're gonna miss you more often than hit you, and it just feels like you're not really all in that much of freaking danger most of the time. So combat overall, I'm kind of really not impressed with in this particular game. I'm going to go as low as, I'm going to go with a 4.
I think with being on land or in your instant zone, the shooting was clunky. I tab targeting, and I never actually ever felt like I had a fear of dying, for first off, and then 2, the space fights were, I mean, if you kind of like allowed your mind to get a little immersion into, you can kind of feel like you're turning, but for the most part, I feel like I was on a bobblehead, you know, like I was on a pin and just sit there and bobble, and no matter how I turn, I never really felt like I was actually moving, you know. And so anyway, I'm gonna give it a 5.
This brings us to gameplay, and gameplay, I'm going to say, felt very scripted. It felt a lot of I felt a lot of rinse and repeat. You know, let's have a space battle, kill a few ships, beam down to the planet, chase after this guy, kill a few guys. The guy we're chasing gets away. We have to go back into our ship, warp somewhere, kill some more freaking ships. You know, beam down to a planet, chase the guy a little bit more. It just felt repetitive, and repetitive equals boringness to me. You just become very bored after a while, no matter how good the story is. And there was a story here that I was fascinated with, but you know, when you start doing the same things over and over again, especially when you add the fact that you don't feel like you're in any danger or really freaking dying, it just becomes boring, and that's unfortunate. So gameplay, I'm gonna go with I'm going with a 3 on gameplay.
Tell you what, we score almost exactly the same. I'm gonna go with gameplay is also a 3. I just felt that within a week, probably 2 or 3 days, I think you'll be bored of the repetition of the same thing. You go in city and you shoot at people, you go back out in space, you shoot at people, you come back, and honestly, I didn't really see any mission stations or anything to do other than what we were doing. So I'm gonna give it a 3.
This brings us to character creation. I'm gonna say it right from the get-go. Character creation, I was really not impressed with. Out of the box, it looks like there's a lot of options there, and then you start to move those sliders around, and barely anything is changing on your character at all. And even the presets, there was like 4 or 5, maybe 6 freaking presets, but they all kind of looked exactly the same. Very slight differences. I don't know if that's just because of the race we're playing. If we were playing humans, would the differences been much more noticeable? But we were playing the Klingons. I'm basing it on what I experienced as the freaking Klingons, and it just was not impressive. Like I said, lots of freaking sliders, but a lot of them just didn't feel like they were doing anything at all. I'm giving character creation, and it's how I feel. I'm giving it a 1.
I am going to give it a 2, and just because I gotta quit being the same scoring as you. No, I'm just teasing. I think 2. I mean, yeah, it wasn't great. I think that could have been better, but I don't know. That's just very limited sliders, and there's just really not much options to really go with. So I'm gonna give it a 2.
That brings us to population, and population is going to be hard for us to judge because we're playing from the very beginning of the game, and Now, I had you check out Steam for us, and Steam is showing a population of how much?
2.2 million.
That's a lot of freaking people to be playing this game, and the comments were mostly positive from the last 30 days, so that's actually pretty impressive. I can see a game like this getting that kind of population, especially because of the franchise. It's Star Trek. You know, there's going to be a lot of diehard people who are going to just love it because it's Star Trek, and there's no getting around that. So in space, we did see, at least I did see some other ships that were controlled by humans flying around. Not many, but I saw a few. I didn't see anything happening in freaking chat. Chat was completely freaking dead the entire game. So based on what I saw, there wasn't a whole lot of population. That's why I had you check the Steam, and Steam saying 2.2 million or whatever. I'm going to go ahead and give the little benefit of the doubt there that there is a lot of people probably having huge ass space battles in Endgame. I'm gonna go with a 5 with population.
I'm going to give it a 5 too, just because I think that we had untapped. I don't think we saw everything. With that many people out there, obviously there's got to be more servers, or we're just slowly working ourselves into that bigger picture. And maybe if that was
another thing to take into consideration too, is that when we tried to team together, there were too many people on my server, so I had to actually go to your server. So there's, you know, the split servers, and yeah, the servers were filling up.
Yeah, so I'm just going to give it a 5.
Next would be UI and menus. I found nothing tedious with the menus or the UI. Well, that's not exactly true. It was a little confusing, only because this is a sci-fi type game, and when I play MMORPGs, I'm kind of used to the whole fantasy layout and everything. So coming into a new MMO that's everything is laid out the way it is in this game, you would get used to it after a time, but you would need that time to get used to it and figure out where everything is and what everything does. But it didn't feel cluttered. It felt like everything was in the right place. And when I went in to change my my volumes for the purpose, I didn't want the music to be blaring. I didn't want the sound effects to be just too loud and everything. So when looking for what I needed to find, changing my screen resolution, all that, everything was right where I needed to find it, where I expected it to be, and the menus were just clearly done. So, and like I said, there'll be a learning curve, I think, on some of the UI elements of it, but nothing too horrendous. I'm gonna go ahead and give UI and menus a 6.
I'm gonna add a point just because our numbers, I swear to God, dude, our numbers are right on exactly the same. Menus, they were simple, they weren't complicated. Obviously they were dated. So I don't know. I'm gonna give it a 7.
All right, I hate this one. Chat spam. Was there any chat spam? No. But was there any chat? No. We do know that there's a population. We do know that these are instance servers, so there probably wasn't a whole lot of people in our area in the newbie zone and everything, so therefore I wouldn't expect chat to be freaking going crazy and everything. But I don't know what that translates into when you get towards endgame. I don't know how busy that chat is. I don't know what kind of chat spam you're getting in endgame when you know once you reach the max level. So I'm gonna cut it right down the middle. I'm gonna go with a 5 here with chat spam.
Now, because there was no chat spam, and there was no lack of, you know, like it wasn't bothersome. But then again, we didn't have hardly anybody in there. I feel like I'm just going to give it a 7. I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt, because I think that maybe once we have gotten a little bit further, we would have been into a much bigger server, would have been a lot more people. But even in the very beginning, I didn't see any gold spam or anything, you know, of that obnoxiousness. So I'm going to give it a 7.
And finally, that brings us to Cash Shop and Pay to Win. There was a cash shop there. I was very confused by the fact that there's 2 currencies used, one being the Zen that Perfect World Entertainment always uses for all their games, and the other being a Deuterium or whatever it was called, something Star Trek related. That currency was probably in the game since way back, you know, before Perfect World actually kind of got their claws into the freaking game as a publisher, because I don't think Perfect World was part of the team from the very beginning. I think it was solely Cryptic at the beginning. But there is a cash shop. 2 cash shops. Okay, so not 1, but 2. Did I see any pay to win as far as seeing any items in there with stats on them? No, I didn't see anything like that. But I understand that a free-to-play game has to survive, so they do have to have, be able to sell something. But having 2 different cash shops is a little bit confusing, and it actually makes you come across seeming a little bit freaking greedy. So, I'm gonna actually go with a 4. It's not because I've seen any pay to win in there and everything. It's just the fact, buy Zen, buy this other currency, and you're selling mostly different items in each of the 2 stores, but why you don't just make a unified store and call it a freaking day is beyond me. I guess they want to keep Cryptic's money and Perfect World's money separate. Your sales are your sales, our sales is our sales, and calling it a day. That's the only thing I could freaking think of. So because there's 2 different cash shops, I think I'm gonna go ahead and I just think that comes across as too greedy. So I'm gonna actually just give it a 4 for cash shop.
All right, I'm gonna go right down the middle. I'm gonna give it a 5, and the reason why is, yes, because it's a free to play. They got to make money, especially how dated the game is. But I also kind of knock it down as well, is because the fact that they had the original currency that they were probably using, and like you said, they probably got bought out. Something happened where this investor, whoever it is, saying, "Hey, look, we want our money. We want to make some money on this too." Maybe because they want to cash in on the franchise. Who knows? So anyway, I'll give it a 5.
All right, so adding up my scores, I came up with a total of 53.
I added mine up and I came up with a total of 58.
Adding those scores together gives us a score of 111. And dividing that by 2, because there's 2 of us playing, gives us a score of 55.5. Which gives us a final letter grade of... With a grade of D, this game is considered below average. It is not completely horrible, and it is playable, but it falls very short in many areas, especially by today's standards. If you can overlook some of its flaws, then you might find that this game is tolerable. There are definitely better games out there to try, but if you have already tried a majority of them, then who knows, maybe this game will be that hidden treasure that will keep you entertained for a while. Anyways, that's it for our ×2 review for this game. We hope you enjoyed it and found it informative, and we will catch you again on the next ×2 review.